Since you've mentioned Argentina, which is perfect segue to my last question, was actually my last question, but I'm going to move it to the front.
Sure.
It's about Argentina. Larry, I'm very curious about Argentina at this point. Never been there, although would really like to visit one day. The current president, Javier Milei, right?
Milei.
Milei. Is he the CIA asset? Is he good? Is he bad? He wants Argentina to be part of NATO. I think he wants to introduce US dollar there. I'm not sure really what's going on. I know that, I think at this point, the inflation there, is it 300%, if I'm correct?
It's high, but
it's high. What's
been
going
high
on
for,
there? And how that region is dangerous as far as, I've mentioned this in my last live stream with Scott Ritter, because everyone knows I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to make sense of those current events. And I see a certain pattern, especially with the BRICS countries. So if there is a country that belongs to BRICS, for example, like Brazil, and you have Argentina that can be destabilizing the South America, what's going to happen there, Larry?
So there's a joke that's told throughout Latino America about the Argentines. And so the Argentines are there with Brazilians and Chileans and Venezuelans. And a thunderstorm starts, and there are massive blasts of lightning. The lightning's flashing. All the other Latinos run for cover because they recognize it's dangerous. And the Argentine is standing there looking at the sky. And the others say, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "God's taking my photograph." So the Argentines have the reputation for lo más orgulloso de Sudamérica, the most proud, the most arrogant, because they've always fancied themselves as more European than Latino. The immigration of the country, heavy Spanish influence. They call them the Gallegos, the Italians, and the Germans. So you've got this, interesting mix of German, Italians, Spaniards, and then the largest Jewish population, at least in Buenos Aires, outside of New York City, in the Western Hemisphere. So it's really sort of a volatile mix. And when Juan Perón was in power and came out of power, and then the military junta in the 70s, they were fighting, the 70s, like 72 to 78 was the good time. The Argentine peso was so strong. Argentines would get on plane, and the second largest city is Cordoba, where I lived when I was there. They would hop on a plane in Cordoba, fly 8 hours north to Miami, go shopping, and then go back and get on the plane and fly home. I mean, it was just a shopping trip. The Argentine peso was that strong. And during this time, you had the battle, what they called La Guerra Sucia, the dirty war, the war against the Montaneros. And this was the beginning where they started kidnapping a lot of suspected leftists, college students, and that led to what were known as the desaparecidos. And then the mothers wearing the handkerchiefs, the scarves over their head, the panuelos. They started, that ended up the protests, what happened to my kid. So Argentina's always had this drama, this major drama behind it. And then when I was there in 1984, Raul Alfonsín had just taken over as president, and they were facing hyperinflation. The prices would go up. It was phenomenal. You'd go to the store in the morning, you'd buy an apple, or for say 10 pesos, and then you go back in the afternoon, and the apple would be 15 pesos, and it was crazy. Good friend of mine, he was building a bakery during this time, and he sold his house, but I guess when the transaction took place, they forgot to pay off the tax on the sale. And so the government kept indexing it to the inflation rate. And when they finally came back 2 years later to collect the tax. The tax that they were going to collect was 2 times the amount that he'd sold his house for. So I mean, that's that's sort of what's they've had this history, and this was 1983. So here we are, 41 years later, and the drama has not stopped at all. I mean, think about it. When I was there 41 years ago, Milei was just he's a kid, probably 8 or 9 years old. Um, Milei has taken a decided, let's call it a nationalist conservative approach. I don't think he's in anywhere near being a CIA asset, but he is definitely, let's call it sort of a Latino version of Donald Trump without the being a billionaire. And he's trying to crack down and control the Argentine government as far. I mean, it had grown into quite a behemoth. It was a big social welfare project, but.
But do you think he is controlled by CIA? Do you
No,
think he? Okay.
no, I don't think so. I think he's doing his own thing. Um, frankly, I don't think the CIA could be as audacious as he is. It remains to be seen if he's going to pull this off. And he did immediately pull out of BRICS, and then he was making noise about China, but then came to his senses and realized, okay, that could be a bad idea. So he's not an experienced politician.
But Larry, he would like Argentina to be part of NATO. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's talking that, which is ridiculous. Well, what he wants to be part of NATO, but he wants to take out the Malvinas, the Falkland Islands. Remember, there was the war. Was it 82 between Britain and Argentina? And the Argentines simply say las Malvinas son nuestras. The Malvinas is ours, and that's Falkland Islands. So I don't quite see how it works out that Argentina joins NATO, where one of the most prominent NATO members, Britain, is holding Argentine territory, or at least territory that the Argentines claim.
Okay. Thank you.